From the Green Room Studios at Bates Nursery in Nashville, Tennessee, it's Gardening Inside Out, a podcast with highlights from our Saturday morning live show, answering all your gardening questions, giving you plant advice for any space in your life. Let's start the show.
Hey everyone, it's Caroline Gant.
Hey everyone, Austin Lowen.
And Tyler Blankenship.
Hey Tyler, that was quiet kind of.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's all good.
I thought it was kind of cute the way you said Blankenship.
You know what else is
Yeah.
probably cute with Tyler? As I bet you're pumpkin spicing it lately.
This morning.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Almost.
Oh,
I know Tyler's ritual. He gets, well, I don't know all that he does in the morning.
my gosh,
But I
dude.
know after he leaves his house, he goes to Dunkin' Donuts this time of year. He gets a pumpkin spice coffee and an apple cider donut every morning.
That's a
I love
Not
it.
quite every morning. This morning I skipped the donut
Wow.
for my health.
well. We
Fall
should
is
all
in the
probably
air.
skip donuts at some point.
Once Tyler starts getting that pumpkin spice coffee,
Then you know the weather's changing. That's what's
Yep.
happening. The night temps are dipping, y'all, and it's not even all that hot today. I saw tomorrow like 81. Like that's good.
I know I was in a sweater this morning.
I know you were.
Yeah.
It was a really big sweater. I noticed.
Big sweaters are great.
Okay, well.
Yeah, September is the twilight zone. You can never really count on it being reliably cold or hot.
Always-
Sometimes it might flip on you. Like, we might come to you in the next 2 weeks and be like, well, it's hot again.
It's 100 degrees outside.
Yep.
But this is that fluctuation time between now and Fallsy Walsy.
Yes, it is. It's also Halloween started.
Halloween
days
is not
ago.
started.
Halloween starts September 1st.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Nobody says that.
We're establishing a new spooky paradigm,
Yeah,
spooky
it's
season
spooky
paradigm.
season.
Okay.
And it's just like, if Christmas can be November 1,
Then Halloween can be September 1.
that's right.
Fine. We
Thank
do
you.
work at a retail nursery, so it is time to start getting the Halloween stuff out.
Are you
That's what I'm
scared? Is
saying.
that why? You don't like it?
I'm
think
not
about-
scared of Halloween. It's September. I'm looking at trees and stuff still.
Of course,
Not
we're
even
all
thinking
looking at
about
trees.
that.
You know, I looked at a lot of trees yesterday, actually.
Oh, yeah? Where at?
At my house, on my property. I've been clearing this nature trail. It's been taking a lot. I was weed whacking for like 6 hours yesterday and cutting branches. But I'm making this beautiful trail. But I think I found some sassafras trees, but I'm not sure.
You think
Because I didn't have time to go back.
you found sassafras? Or you think you found sassafras? You don't know.
I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
well, now I want to know.
I
Did you
haven't-
not look at the leaves?
I did, but it's been so long since I saw a sassafras tree, I couldn't quite remember exactly what they look like.
You want to know a fun fact about
they're
sassafras tree?
What?
Is that they have different leaf shapes on the same tree a lot of times.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Isn't that cool?
The mitten, the
yeah, there'll
football,
be a mitten. Mm.
Yeah.
and one more.
Yeah. There's another one.
But I bet
Sorry,
I have
y'all.
some in the woods somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure you do. If you live in Middle Tennessee, you certainly have sassafras trees somewhere. They pop up like crazy from seed. Mm-hmm. They are heavy reseeders.
I'm going to find them all. I also found a little turtle.
Oh,
Yeah.
what'd you do with the turtle?
I took him to Walden's Puddle because he had an injury. Great little life rehab place here in Nashville. Love them.
Well, that was nice of you.
He's in a warm bath. They gave me an update right
Oh.
now.
God, turtles in warm baths.
He needed it. He was having a hard time.
Yeah, this,
I am in love with a wild turtle getting a therapeutic warm water bath.
He did. Listen, he hasn't been able to put his head in a shell for I don't know how long, and he needed to.
I would be miserable
He was-
if I couldn't go into my shell.
He was
Yeah.
very upset. I
Well.
could tell by the way he closed his eyes really tight when he tried to put his head into his shell.
so you're saying he had like a goiter?
Yeah, he did. He had some kind of thing.
Gross.
But he's getting it taken care of, and then we will re-release him, hopefully before he starts to hibernate. If not, they will keep him till after. But that's not a plant,
No.
and even though it is a living creature.
It's nature.
It's
we
nature.
talk nature here every once in a while
We're
too.
nature talkers.
Tyler,
Yeah?
you sent us a picture the other day.
I did.
You found
Let
a-
me pull it up for everybody to look at right now.
You
Just kidding.
Found a naughty friend.
What?
Yeah, you found him.
Oh,
Do you not know what he's talking about?
At first I was like, excuse me?
Excuse me?
Yeah, hornworm.
He said it.
Yeah.
A
He did
menace.
say it. You said it last week, I think, or the week before. We were talking about Tyler's tomatoes and how Tyler never has luck with tomatoes. And he's like, y'all, I still haven't gotten a tomato. And
But he had
Austin was
damage.
like, you need to look at it.
Yeah. I was like, I know you have a hornworm down in there. And you found him.
He found it. We will put
Yeah.
a photo up on social media so all y'all can see what Tyler's hornworm looked like.
What'd you do with him?
I cut off the very the little offshoot of growth at the top that he was hanging off of, and I chucked them in my compost pile.
Cool.
Nice.
Gave him a little bit of food. Like that was nice of you.
That is nice.
Yeah, he would finish that, and then he'd be like, "Where'd the rest go?"
And then he's going to come back to your tomato plant.
Oh yeah, he'll find it. He's already got the taste, Tyler.
He knows
He's
where
got
that
the
tomato
taste.
plant is.
Don't you tell
He
me
can't stay
this
away.
right now.
It's been
I'm
2
telling you
days.
this.
I bet he's back.
I've already put a net around the tomato. It's netted
Okay.
because of squirrels.
Oh God, the squirrels.
Tyler,
You guys are
Tyler in
so.
this tomato saga.
It's a
I
saga.
love it. I am committed, and I'm sure our
I
listeners
just feel
are.
like you're laughing at me because you're just like, I'm popping tomatoes in my mouth every morning. La, 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 la. And then it's just me over here failing.
Well, I just love at the beginning of tomato season, we were like, Tyler, I can't believe you're not growing tomatoes. You're a Southerner. You live in the South. We're in Tennessee. Everyone has to grow tomatoes. And you were like, fine, I'll grow a tomato. But I'm going to prove to you that they just don't do well to me. And so now you are.
I have proven it.
You have proven it. And
I even dumped tomato tone fertilizer in the container. And I've seen nothing from these
and now you
bad
have a little
boys.
net around it.
And I'm sure all that growth was eaten up. All that fertilizer investment went straight into the hornworm's stomach.
Yeah.
And when we
healthy
put the
worms
net
now.
on, we netted the hornworm inside the tomato. So it's like, now you're trapped in here with me. I'm going to eat you.
Yeah.
I'm going to devour you, tomato.
No, a bird can't come eat that hornworm.
No,
Protected by the net.
but also a squirrel can't come get the tomato. So it's like a net neutral threat, except I've locked. Anyway,
Wait, I can't remember, and I'm sure our listeners are wondering, have you gotten one tomato to eat off of that?
no. There's one green one that's actually pretty decent size, very clean. I will say the fruit of the celebrity, very clean.
Oh yes.
No problems.
Oh yes. Tyler.
Wow.
Harvest that fruit 2 days before it's ripe, so you can at least
And I'm gonna
eat it.
and I'm gonna know when 2 days before ripeness is.
Yes.
You can
You're gonna
kind of
see
tell.
just
They
the
start-
slightest color change.
Yeah.
Okay, where it's that green going to a yellow. Okay, once that
the
happens,
blush.
bring it into the house so the
blush.
stupid squirrel doesn't make off with it.
Well,
Okay.
it ain't gonna make off with anything because I've got a net over it.
Okay.
now.
Okay.
That squirrel might
Something
come
still
to
will
tear
happen.
that net down.
Yes, it's you with tomatoes. Something will still happen if you leave that on. You must bring it in a couple days before. Okay.
We're all rooting for you.
Actually, bring it into the nursery. We'll all sit here and split it up and eat it together.
You want me to share my single tomato with you? With you
Give
who has
Tyler
the bounty
his
of
tomato.
thousands?
Yeah, you planted like 50 tomato plants,
Not 50,
like 35.
like 30.
Might
But
as
yes,
well be
Tyler, I
50.
still would like you to share.
It's always got to take a bite of everybody's something.
Yep.
Even in the nursery, somebody has some chicken nuggies or something, and he's just like, "Oh, give me one of them nugs."
Yep. You know it. Oh, well, it's been really nice that the temperatures dropped at night, but I will say, at least in my part of the world, and yours too, Caroline, where we live,
No rain.
No rain, y'all. Droughty.
It is
So
terrible.
if you look at a map of the United States, you'll find two things: half is in drought, and half is in really, really hot weather, and half is really actually kind of seasonably cool.
Yep.
And we got the cool side. I'm sorry, folks out west. Y'all are burning up right now, and that's unfortunate, and it might flip-flop.
Yep.
it might.
You never know, like you
I
said
hope
earlier.
we get rain soon.
Yeah, I need some rain. I mean, you know what's funny and interesting? I've got a yard full of trees and shrubs and whatever. And y'all know this. I live in a low spot or whatever.
In a bog.
Not in a bog. We went through this multiple weeks now. Okay. So I've got multiple trees and shrubs and stuff planted in the yard. Well, only 2 are wilting, and I mean wilting hard and heavy. And interestingly enough, it's 2 viburnums. Isn't that weird? Like, I think of viburnum as just like the hardiest, rangiest.
They are hardy, but I
shrub.
feel like this time of year they're starting to go dormant, so it kind of makes sense.
Not really, though. Like, I mean, I don't notice them going dormant this early. Like, I mean, I'm seeing literally interior leaf crunch and fall, and then exterior leaf wilt hard. And y'all know me. I ain't out there watering stuff in the yard.
No,
Like,
you're
I
going to
need
let
to
it die
rain.
before it waters.
It ain't gonna die.
Or you water.
No, it'll just do. It'll like you said. It'll go dormant quicker, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna die. It'll be back. It's a deciduous variety, so it's gonna lose all its leaves anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of everything in the yard, isn't that funny? Like, those are the 2 that are wilting heavy.
My panicle hydrangeas were
Now that makes
looking
sense.
sad. I watered those.
You kind of have to with hydrangea. That. Oof.
Everything, though.
My
Persimmon
oak
tree,
leaves got
everything.
rescued by a rain shower we had over the weekend. But they were,
Now, you got one here in Nashville.
yes, they
We
are
did
looking
not.
like they got into a fight at this point. Half of them leaves crunchy brown, but they were wilting, rain, boom, puffed them back up.
Yeah. I went for a walk in my woods where there's a creek and there's ferns everywhere and it's fully shaded and even the ferns were laying flat on the ground. It's so dry down there. It's like a ravine, so it stays wet.
Yeah.
And those ferns were, mostly on one side. We're just not having it.
Yeah. All the native wild weeds that are just on the side of the road and in the woods around here, like they're by the end of the day when I'm going home, they are just total wilt.
They're
Now, do they perk up
exhausted.
every morning? Yes, they do. They're up and happy
But
and
not
healthy
for much
again in the
longer if
morning.
we don't get rain.
It's true. Although them's native weeds,
You love them.
Oh yeah,
A lot
love
of
'em.
native rudbeckia on the side of the
Yo,
road right now.
Gross.
Your favorite.
Not my favorite.
My favorite.
Hey, I'm getting ready to replant. I'm getting the itch. I'm seeing all this color at the nursery. I'm ready to plant pansies. What do y'all think?
I think, yep. I did one of my fall mix containers. Well, two. On Saturday.
Yeah.
But I didn't put any pansies in it. I did
it.
asters, little blue stem, and black petunias.
Oh, yes, I saw the picture of that. That was cute.
It's going to be really cute once those petunias start growing over, spilling over that pot.
I'm in a dilemma right now, though, because I've got pots as well. They're up on top. They still look fine, my mixed containers, whatever, but I'm just kind of getting tired of them. I planted them, and I've been looking at them all season. But I'm in a dilemma. We haven't got our bulbs in yet, and I want to put tulips down in the bottom of these pots and my pansies on top. That's what I do.
Wait for it.
I
They're going
know.
to be here soon.
I know.
You don't have to get those pansies in those pots right now. We're going to get so many more.
That's true. Man, if
Patience
y'all aren't
is a
doing
virtue.
that, you're messing up. You got to think about it. The tulips below the pansies. There's nothing better in the spring.
I did that one year, and the tulips were just so sporadic, the ones that came up.
Well, that's only one try. Why don't you give it another
right.
go? Because whenever it hits hard, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I do love watching bulbs come up.
Did some of them rot in the pot?
I don't know
Need
if they... probably not, because I'm bad at watering, and it was undercover. Mm-hmm. So maybe they shriveled up. Who knows what happened?
So maybe they dried on the fly.
Yeah.
Great
or-
rhymes, Tyler.
Something. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't my fault at all. It probably was.
You're right, though. Something about bulbs coming up in the spring. Every time it happens around town and I look at people's yards and I see the bulbs, I'm like, my bulb game needs to grow. Like, I've got to get my bulb game better.
Yeah. I've only got daffodils for the most part, and some tulips.
Kind of involves a little planning.
It definitely does,
Yeah.
Tyler, and that's the problem. It's like they got their show in the spring whenever we're as juiced up and as happy as we can be to look at flowers. And then after that, you get just foliage that doesn't look great.
That's why you got to stagger your planting.
I know, but you got to leave the yuck foliage up.
It's not that bad. It's nature.
It is
Put
nature,
something
but it's
in front
annoying.
of it that's going to cover it.
No.
Drama.
Yeah. I don't like to see yuck leaves of tulips after they're done blooming.
I don't mind.
In my perfectly groomed bed. Okay? I mean, my God. I've got boxwoods in a row.
Are you prepared to pull them as soon as they're done?
I don't want to do that because that's money and I'm cheap, but I will probably do that, Tyler.
Just keep painting them green.
No.
Just get some spray paint.
No.
Spray paint them green so they still look like they're going strong.
No, that never works out. Y'all, by the way, if you've
No,
ever
it does not.
If you've ever thought about doing that, do not do it. You know,
What?
Something I've been itching to do that it's not time to do it yet, but I'm just ready.
Plant your tulips.
No, I'm going to do that soon.
Okay.
We just talked about
plant
that.
your petunias.
No, they're not petunias.
He said,
A petuna.
I didn't get the
petuna,
I
yeah.
plant my can of petunas.
you're onto something, though, with
Yeah,
that can of petunas. We're going to make that happen.
I'm ready to start pruning stuff, deciduous things.
You got to wait for it, Kev.
I know. You called me Kev.
I know. That's what we call Austin here at the nursery.
My nickname's Kev, just so y'all know.
nickname is Kev.
And it comes out every once in a while. But anyway, yes, I'm ready to prune Japanese maples. I'm ready to prune crepe myrtle. I'm ready to prune hydrangea.
I'm ready to prune my Vitex
See?
and my Limelights.
So is Tyler. You're ready to prune your Vitex too, aren't you?
Oh, baby.
Aren't you?
I am
See?
Oh,
excited.
yes. But I can wait.
You can wait. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I used to be a complete summer person. All I wanted was summer, warm weather. And now I look forward to the winter, not only because it's been so hot this summer, but I love the gardens in the winter when everything's dormant and you can really see, all of the little details. Mm-hmm. There's something about it.
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. I absolutely hate the cold. You know this about
You're
me.
dramatic. I know.
I'm allowed to hate the cold. That's not dramatic. Lots of people hate the cold.
I hate the cold too. I don't do well in the cold. I'm not saying I'm
No.
excited about the cold, but I'm just talking about plants.
Okay.
That I've come to appreciate winter and dormant plants more than I used to before I started working here.
Well, we've talked about this in the past. You get to see a lot more things that you just don't get to see during the summer months, too, through the woods, and you see the birds through them and whatever you can see.
People's houses.
Houses,
Yeah.
yes. Sheds. You're like, I never knew that was there.
That's a messy yard right there. Yeah, you see a lot.
Yeah.
This is a wild argument. I'm just following along.
Is it an argument?
And well, a point or whatever, a take.
Yeah.
Because I like it too. However, I like color. I like foliage.
I know.
I think I just like it all.
I honestly
honest.
think that if plants could just hold on to their leaves a little bit longer, and we could have a little bit more color, that would be so nice.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. The only problem is that here in Middle Tennessee, if you don't know us, we're a very fungusy state. Okay, lots of fungal issues happen. So like our deciduous trees here, a lot of times they look so spotty and yuck and tired that they don't give us a great fall show. So it's like, I wish we didn't have, I'm with you, Tyler. I wish that they would last longer, but I wish those leaves stayed cleaner all the way till, through the fall color. They just, so many issues around here.
There's a lot of issues, but the hillsides are starting to turn.
I noticed that today.
A lot of color.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I think it'll be a good
stress?
fall. Probably,
Yeah.
but it still looks pretty.
I mean, I think one could argue that stress really brings on that almost just as much as, say, temperature change would.
Is
In
it different?
theory.
I guess so.
Yeah. So,
Signals are being sent one way or another.
That's
Fall
right.
time. Y'all, it's fall. We're going to signal this on into our broadcast from this last Saturday. We were all back. Austin's back in the room. We got Tyler. We got me, David Bates, and Josh Carey. We're all here. We answered a lot of questions.
It was fun.
It was fun. It's always fun. All
Y'all
right.
have fun.
Y'all buckle up and have fun with us. Here we go.
I guess the first order of business is it's been a difficult week heat-wise. Everyone has
That noise
it's
is
been
right, Josh.
stressed due to it, and the forecast that I just talked about does give us all hope for things being better in the coming days. So, anybody got any goodbyes to August they want to make to say, hey, all right, we're ready for fall now?
I'm ready for you to be gone, August. That's what I've got.
Yeah, August is done.
It's been so hot.
Done with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this past week was brutal. Very brutal. But hey, we're getting into that fall. I feel it, y'all. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel the uptick. Yesterday there was an uptick of people because of the pottery sale for sure. But there was other people buying plants and they're like ready to go. It's like we're gearing up.
Fall planting
Got trucks.
time.
We had I don't know how many trucks this week, getting us back full.
Right.
So and it's the fall planting season, y'all. The gardens need to get planted. We got to get broccoli, lettuce, cabbages, all that stuff out. I think this is probably the week to do it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was a really unusual year again. I think this is 2 in a row where you had stuff in the veggie garden in particular. I had zero luck with cucumbers. I've had zero luck with peppers this year for some reason.
Oh, my peppers have done great this year.
Zero luck, Josh. You just had bad luck.
I had awful luck. Yeah, that's
Zero luck. That's
okay.
It was bad.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of funny. I mean, I'm no different. I did not have a good year with peppers, like I never do. I don't know why. I don't.
never grow them.
It's
'Cause you
too
live in a
wet.
bog. We've
I
talked
know,
about
it's
this.
too wet. I don't live in a bog. It's just wet. It stays a little moist. But my cucumbers, money. Just
Really?
Oh man, money.
man.
My cucumber's terrible.
I know.
They died
See?
right at the top.
We're all different,
my
but we're all in this
peppers,
together.
This was the best year for my peppers.
See?
They're going strong still.
Didn't matter if it was in the ground or in a pot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just an onion. Again, usually there's particularly the death peppers because I took advantage of a sale earlier this year and got some death peppers. I have not seen one on any of those. Those are in pots though.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Still,
Yeah.
every year's different with gardening.
Well, those kinds of things are perhaps a contributing factor to high food prices that you may see when you go into the stores. I mean, nothing is cheap anymore, and vegetable things that you can grow for yourself are not the exception. So obviously it's probably one of the things that people who are into gardening and growing things in their own space for their own consumption are really keen on doing it the very best they can. So we just call it the way it is. We're not going to do happy talk and say, well, everything's wonderful and rosy. We're going to talk about problems where they exist and
Well,
try to come up with our collective experience on ways to deal with whatever you're dealing with as well as what we're dealing with. We're gardeners too. We have problems in the garden, and what we try to do is to work on solutions. give the best result possible.
Well, I'm gonna
That's
crop
what we do.
rotate. Yeah, I'm gonna rotate crops next year completely. I think I'm gonna redo some of my above ground garden because I've used the corner blocks so it's going to be easy to move. I bought some red clover seed last weekend, so I think I'm going to put in a cover crop for the winter.
Cool.
Go farmer, man.
Hey.
Look at
I
you.
love
good
clover cover crops.
Yes.
Do you, Tyler?
Yes,
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
do it every year?
every year.
It's
Nice.
Almost.
and it's absolutely
In a little
gorgeous.
patch somewhere.
Yeah,
It is gorgeous. And
Yeah.
the bees hum on it in the spring when they're in bloom. The bees are just out. So good practices,
Well, I'm
Josh.
of the belief that a lot of other people out there have questions.
Yes.
Caroline, am I right about that?
You are right. You are very right. Let's start talking about fall gardening, vegetable gardening. Our first question is timing for planting for a fall garden. Is it too late?
No, it's not too late. It's like the kind of the front end of it. You know, last week, probably timing wise, would have been probably a good way to do it, except for we had 100-degree temperatures. So we kind of had to avoid last week, even though timing wise, that was probably the way to go. But I think this week is the week to do it. Okay, we're still seeing low 90s, high 80s, but the nighttime temps are dropping a little bit, so it's going to keep those plants from bolting. But we've got to, with the amount of time we've got left in the season, we've got to get them in.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're definitely going to be too late. So we've got them. We got plenty that look good. It's time to get them
It's
in
time.
now.
How about can I plant kale seeds now?
Yes. Kale seeds will jump almost any time of the year as long as the weather's okay. But
What do
yeah,
you mean by okay?
I mean not like brutal, not like stupid hundreds and then
Yeah.
or awful
Or cold.
awful
Freezing.
cold.
They
But
need a
pretty
little
much-
humidity too, don't they?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it's-
dry. Last week was awful.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're keeping those seeds kind of moist on top of on top, once they germinate, getting kale up and growing from seed is extremely easy.
It's so
I mean,
easy.
All of the greens, really.
I had a kale plant for 2 years that looked like a tree.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Eventually I pulled it out, but it was great.
Well, I
I'd
think
harvest in
technically-
the winter.
Yeah, I think technically they're all like biennials. So typically they're going to grow the first season, not necessarily set seed. And then the second season they'll set their seed, and that's what a biennial is.
It got huge.
Oh, they can be trees.
And it was pretty gorgeous. It
They'll
would bloom.
reseed all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't let it. I mean, I'm sure it reseeded, but I didn't let any of the little babies come up. How about when should I pull out my tomato plants? I'm about ready, even though mine are still producing.
Yeah, I
they
mean,
are getting crazy.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, that's-
out of control.
That's kind of the thing. It's kind of up to you. Like, are you done with them? Are they done with you? Like, are they producing
How
fruit
can you tell
anymore?
if they're done with you?
They're not giving you any more red fruit anymore. They're just
Gotcha.
being annoying and just
Size
leggy.
gets a little smaller.
The size gets
yeah.
smaller. Yeah. Now, if you're still getting if you're still getting fruit and you want your fruit, leave your tomatoes. Okay. If you're done with them and you need the space for your fall veggies, if that's the thing that's going on, they're pretty much not going to produce all that much anymore, y'all. It's not like going to be a ton of fruit
Yeah.
coming on. You might get one or two here or there. So if they're taking up a lot of space in your garden, which they typically do, then go ahead and get them out. Go
Mine
ahead
are
and get
still
'em out.
producing and going crazy, but I'm ready to start
you
my
might-
fall stuff.
Everybody's
You
sick
might
of cherry
consider
tomatoes
not
anyway.
Taking them all out, maybe
Yeah.
just taking out most of them and save one, because you can still get a few tomatoes along the way that are going to give you, reasonably good result. So I know people who occasionally get tomatoes all the way into December
Wow.
with a little cover. So, you might not want to ditch all of them, but create some space for other things that are more seasonable.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take a phone call the other day of a guest, and she sent some emails in of some pictures of her tomatoes. And she's a first-time grower of tomatoes, so she's never, ever grown a tomato before, okay?
Bless her heart.
And she had a tomato
Everybody
in...
has to start somewhere, Josh.
That's
I
right.
understand.
That's
I've
right.
been there.
But she was growing them in one of those
Raised beds?
no,
Grow bag.
it was a grow bag. Yeah,
There
that's
you
exactly
go.
what it was, which is a great
Bless her.
way to
Yeah.
grow plants for sure. And she had a plant, and I looked at it, and I'm like, this plant is huge. It was like 7 foot tall. It was a cherry tomato,
wow.
of course.
Uh-huh.
And it was like 7 foot tall. But what she was seeing was lots of black and yellow leaves at mainly the base of the plant, but also working up. But then I also saw a whole bunch of like green, yellow, and red fruit all on the plant. And I had to call her and be like, look. She was like, oh my God, my plant over the past week, it's just started dying. I don't know what to do or whatever. And I'm like, ma'am, have you harvested, fruit through the season? She's like, oh yeah, I've gotten tons of fruit. And I'm like, well, look, clean up that plant. It'll look way better. It's going to be fine. I was like, we're not trying to eat the leaves. I don't
Right.
care about them leaves.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
a tomato plant does not need near as many leaves as you think it does.
Well, you
but
talk
it was
about
still
that
producing fruit.
That grower that we passed on our way home. that strips off the leaves and really just lets the energy go to the fruit.
Oh, yeah. He barely leaves any leaves on.
And hopefully she won't use the cherry tomato success as her benchmark, because if you want to get a kid involved in gardening, I think that's the one you need to plant.
Oh,
man, they would, because they're gonna produce every year.
Oh, yeah. And if it's anything like my kids, they don't even make it into the house.
Right.
Those cherry tomatoes are getting eaten before they're ever, and they're just throwing
Send them to my
fruit like
house. I
crazy.
have so many. I've stopped harvesting most of them.
That's what happens a lot of times. Late
there's
August
just-
comes around, you're like, I don't want to pick those.
Covered, and I'm just like, I don't want to get out there. Plus, they're just like growing like this and all over the place. I have them in raised beds, and they're going crazy. So I have to really get in there to get them.
That's what they do.
And I'm tired of eating
My
tomatoes.
neighbor loves me because he waits until about the end of July, because he never puts one in, because he knows that I'm going to say, hey, go get all you want,
Yeah.
man. So
That's nice
Go
of
harvest all you want.
get all you need. Yeah.
They're growing so easy this year. We got a question about potatoes. How do I know when it's time to harvest my potatoes?
Start digging. Literally, you start digging. I've heard a lot of times people will say, like, when the potatoes go to flower and they start to set their seed, which is a green little fruit atop of the, the foliage, is a good time to think about digging. But honestly, potatoes are a fairly quick crop. You're talking 55, 65 days in that kind of range. So you kind of know when you plant them. And then once you get to that 60-day mark, you literally just dig one and you see where they're at. You dig, far out around the foliage, so you don't cut into a potato. And just know you're probably going to cut into a potato. Okay, I've harvested potatoes a lot in my life, and there's rarely been a time where I didn't slice a potato right in half whenever I was going to harvest.
Not this guy.
Not you,
Oh,
Tyler.
are you perfect when you harvest
you're
potatoes?
a perfect potato.
I stick my hands
Planter?
in the loose dirt container.
Look at you.
But if it's in the clay dirt of Tennessee, just growing in the ground, you got to dig
I
them.
grow mine in buckets
That's a good way to do it.
or dog food bags. I've done that
Austin,
before.
are you kidding me?
Tyler, tiny Tyler.
Yeah, I'm
too.
a
Oh, right.
I'm a dignified little container potato gardener.
I know you are.
I like having it nice and loose and roomy
Well.
because I feel like the potatoes have to like
Swell.
yeah.
And
it's easier to displace the dirt when it's like that.
You're right. You're just kind of like carrots, like potatoes are going to swell and get bigger and fatter and nicer whenever they have more loose soil. We don't always have that, but
Not here.
So,
Definitely
like I said,
not here.
But when it comes to when, you got to just kind of trial one. You don't just grow one potato.
I grow a lot of potatoes.
Yeah, you grow like 20, 30 potatoes, and that way you have a whole bunch that you can save and store or whatever. But you got to just dig one. You got to get in there and see where you're at.
You can't store them unless you got a root cellar, right?
A root cellar.
A root cellar.
Root. Okay.
I'm growing potatoes this year. I haven't harvested them
Never
yet.
tried.
Oh, they're
Really?
so easy. and
So easy.
They're kind of fun because you're just thinking about what's growing underneath the soil instead of like watching what's up
Because
top.
it's such a beautiful plant.
Particularly like the
it-
container
I
growing
like it.
technique.
Yeah, it's way. And then I pile more dirt on top. Keep on getting it higher and
Yeah,
higher.
just keep adding it to it. Yep.
That's a practice actually that people do is like old tires.
Right.
People will plant potatoes in old tires and then you can add a tire to it and then
Yep.
add more dirt to it because the more dirt you put around the stems, the more it's going to root and then the more potential potatoes.
There's some
Exactly.
great big pots out there on sale that you could add that to, and then you
Use the tires and
can use the
you
tires.
can add those tires in different order successive years, and that gives new meaning to rotating your tires.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh,
Yep,
there
yep,
it is.
you got it.
And that's why I do dog food bags, even though they're not pretty. You can just keep piling and get real deep with it. And it's free if you have dogs.
And then at the end you just dump out the bag and
There
you've got
you
the
go.
potatoes.
Or just slice it open
That's
and they
right.
all go
and
everywhere.
they all spill. That's a great idea. Actually.
Brilliant.
I
Thank
like
you.
it.
It's not very attractive, but if you can put other plants around it, it works.
Any particular dog food type?
Just whatever you got.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever you got. Make
Roy
sure you
would
poke
prob-
holes in it,
Okay,
though, so
okay.
it can drain. Then we've got a question about strawberries. I've noticed runners from ever-bearing strawberry plants I purchased from Bates in spring and planted. How do I cut and plant those runners? And the berries have been delicious. Thank you.
Good. It sounds like you're growing great plants. They're sending out fruit and runners, so they're happy and healthy. Good for you. Really, all you're going to do is just snip those where the stem comes out. They'll lead to a new little plant. You're going to snip it right there. And honestly, you can take the whole stem. Like, that stem's not needed. So you're just after the other plant that's already been formed by that runner. So just snip it back a little bit and then plant that new, the little plant where you want it.
New little pup.
And then
Could you
keep it
just
moist.
cover it with dirt?
You can put dirt around it; it'll root.
Yeah,
Certainly. I mean, in nature, that's what happens.
Right.
Sends out a runner. The plant will sit atop of the ground as long as there's moisture around it. It'll root and form a whole new plant right there. So you don't necessarily have to cut it all, but it depends on where you want your strawberries. You know?
We've had one ever-bearing strawberry that we got way back, David, right after we moved into the house there in Smyrna, and we have one left because I did it kind of like we put it right at the very front of the bed so it would be decorative. But we have one little baby left with us from all that
minimal
time.
decorative benefit.
Well, I mean, the squirrels absolutely love it. So, I mean, I don't think we've had at least 4 or 5 berries on it.
Squirrel.
It's never a bad time of year to add Earth Mix to your garden. Earth Mix garden products are sustainably sourced, living soils and amendments crafted to give you the best success for your gardening efforts. Establishing a raised bed? Use Garden Premium Topsoil Blend for an excellent performing growing medium for flowers and vegetables. Amend your gardens with their supernatural compost, with all the nutrients needed to recharge existing soils. For houseplants, their Proganics Indoor Grow Mix is a fantastic potting medium that will feed for up to 6 months without the need for additional fertilizer. Earth Mix is sold only at independent garden centers, so head over to earthmix.net/find Earthmix to locate one near you. Success begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products.
Let's take a little shift and talk about trees. My hornbeam is dying at the top. It's been in ground for 2 years in full sun. Why is this happening?
Well, I'm not necessarily sure, and I wonder what dying means. I mean, die back is one thing. I know that, hornbeams are extremely tough, y'all. Like, really easy plants to grow, and it's been in the ground for 2 years, so that's a good thing. And it seems like if it's just at the top, maybe it might be an insect issue, which happens. I mean, definitely tent caterpillars and like fall webworms are very apparent right now. But the thing is that you would see that. You would see literally webs and worms and stuff at the top, like in a tent. So that would be, if that's what's happening. Could be other insects going on, but like, it's rare for a hornbeam to die. I need some pictures on this. I need more. I don't know where.
How much water?
Send that photo to gardeninginsideout@gmail.com.
Please do. I'll call you personally.
Austin loves to, so if you would like a phone call from Austin himself, leave your phone number and he will give you a call from
I will.
Bates.
I love calling people.
He does.
Talking about plants.
Not a 900 number either. So
No,
it's not. Okay.
He doesn't like emailing.
I don't do that.
He
no.
does not do
Tyler
that.
handles the emails with the pictures, or Caroline shows them to me, and then I'm like, okay, give me them digits, and I'm going to call you.
Yeah, and I'm going to call you.
And
Or
like
we
two-
have to type it out while he tells us what the issue is. Yeah.
He's
Like
old
a
fashioned.
2-minute conversation will go to 10 real quick because we're talking about other stuff.
I've got
But it's all
webworms
good.
on a redbud this year.
You got what?
Webworms on a redbud.
That's a tongue twister. Say it again,
Webworms
Josh.
on a
Webworms on a webworm. Wedbud.
You know, Josh, webworms and tent caterpillars, they're not like all that specific. They can be on almost anything. And
I
like,
get them on some limelights every year. Same limelight every year, and I remove them.
Interesting. See, like on a limelight. Like you never know really what they're going to be on. We had some here at the nursery on a persimmon tree.
Really?
Just covered it.
My persimmon is loaded up with fruit this year.
Yeah.
It's insane. I was talking to Ann about it, and she works in the office, and she said hers has like 3 or 4 fruit on it. That's what mine had last year, and this year it's got like at least 30,
Yeah.
30 to 40. It is
Wet
covered.
spring. Yeah, the wet spring. We had one in
It's
another
so
month.
happy.
But wait until they fall to the ground.
Yes.
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
eat them.
Don't eat them early. They are weird if you eat them unripe.
Weird is the word.
Is that an Asian persimmon, Caroline?
I don't know what it is. It was unmarked when I got it.
No, you got
Buck
just
a gallon sale.
How
here.
big are they?
You have our native.
Little
Do
bitty
I?
ones?
Yeah.
How do you,
I remember it.
Yeah, golf ball size. Oh yeah, they're
they-
awesome.
yeah.
Corgis love them, by the way.
Aw,
Absolutely.
they have a good. I hear deer love them now. I kind of regret planting
Deer
it
definitely
close to my house where all of my
Makes
plants
that meat
are.
taste so good when they eat those.
But I got woods everywhere. It'll be fine.
There you go.
All right, speaking of things falling from the trees, how to combat woolly aphids from my big trees and shrubs. You can't. They're everywhere right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and you
I
cannot.
see them in everybody's hair and clothing here at the nursery. People are covered them right now.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. I get in my beard constantly throughout the day. Like, y'all, you can't really combat woolly aphids. You can take care. Say you have a big hackberry tree and you want to take care of it and use like a systemic insecticide, which is super stout, very environmentally not necessarily great.
Wow.
You can treat your one tree or your 2 or 3 trees, whatever. But there's hackberries next door and there's another one next door, and the woolly aphids are literally everywhere. They're littering the sky right now. It looks like little snowflakes all throughout the sky. That's what's happening. Like, you're not going to combat that. I'm sorry. It's an invasive, nasty pest that is here, and it's something we're going to have to deal with every single year, and this is the time when they're flying.
Covering my car with
And the
gases.
amount of, go ahead, David.
Well, I was going to say probably the best way to deal with them is if you could, to Austin's point of your neighbors having the same problem trees as you have, is if you could get neighbors all together and spray these trees with dormant oil, but do it as a collective. You know, maybe the whole neighbor, people, if say you all live on a cul-de-sac or whatever, get all the trees sprayed with dormant oil at the beginning of the season. Then you have a reasonable chance of control, and it's not super expensive, particularly if you're splitting it up amongst several families, and it also is not this real toxic poison. You're just smothering them.
Right.
So the paraffinic oils do a great job at that, and they don't do any environmental harm. So, and they don't harm the applicator or the people who live around the trees. So there's that approach, but you got to think very proactive on that. You know, if you wait until you see the problem, then you only have the application that Austin was talking about doing a systemic. And those are really expensive.
Very.
So,
and it takes quite a bit of it for a large-sized tree,
and
too.
they're only going to control the ones they're only going to control the ones you apply it to. So there's that.
There's that. But you know what there also is? Tyler.
What's in bloom? With Austin.
Hey,
Is there still stuff in bloom?
you know there is. I didn't think I was going to have a great list today, but I ended up getting up a pretty good one. You know, there's still some stuff going, but some things that are kind of on their way out. In front of me, Caroline brought this in. Sedum is really pretty right now. Okay, sedum is like
the sedum
full
is so
bloom.
good.
That's a beautiful plant. I'm glad you brought that in. Hosta still going, but almost out. The same with Echinacea and Black-Eyed Susan. Those are starting to fade. Y'all need to deadhead if you haven't, because those black blooms are annoying me.
I like them.
Okay,
I'm leaving
the
mine.
upright garden phlox is still going. All your kind of purples, blues, pinks, whites, all those still looking good. Hey, anemone. What you know about anemone? It's a windflower. It's beautiful. It blooms in the fall.
It blooms in the shade.
Well, ish in the fall. Right now is like when it's blooming into the fall. So that's awesome. If you're not growing an anemone, you're doing something wrong, because it is a beautiful plant.
Yeah.
And it spreads from little underground rhizomes. Like, it's so cool. I love anemone, okay?
Anemones.
Yes. Exactly, Tyler. Butterfly bush, they're still going, and butterfly weed. Caroline told me hers is still blooming. The orange, the milkweed, the monarch butterflies, they're all about it, okay? Russian sage is a soft blue. It's Mediterranean. It's looking great. Love the Russian sage. Hey, homestead purple verbena. That's a perennial verbena, which is weird, a little ground cover that blooms, and it's still throwing some blooms right now. Hey, shout out, Adam, you love Abelia. Abelia, still going. Looking pretty good. I like Abelia. It's okay, but it lives. Abelia lives. Okay, St. John's wort. What a beautiful little yellow flower. Not necessarily my favorite plant. It's a little bit rangy, a little bit but the bloom is beautiful, okay? What? You got something to say?
I love that plant. All forms of it. I
love the
think
bloom.
it's rangy.
It's rangy. It's fine.
Maybe
Okay,
when
but
you
it's followed
said
by
it.
red berries, which is kind of cool. I do like that. I think birds like them a lot.
Yes,
maybe
they do.
Okay, roses are looking good right now. Roses are in a good little stage right now. Okay, sunflowers still going off, looking big. Hey, canna lily's still going. God, it's been a month, even longer than a month probably. Canna lily's still blooming, looking good. Your endless summer collection, hydrangeas, the blues, the pinks, up and blooming, looking nice. Panicle hydrangeas still going. Limelights. All of those
Still
panicles still happening. Hey, shout out Ann in the office. Bush Lespedeza.
Oh, her favorite. One
Bush
of her favorites.
Lespedeza. That's a cool plant. Y'all Google that plant. You don't even know anything about it. Bush Lespedeza is a very cool plant. It blooms, like I said, starting this time of year into the fall, and not a lot of shrubs are doing that right now. So cool plant. Your mimosa still barely going off. Some still are, some still aren't. That's okay. Vitex, if you cut them back, are back in full show. If you didn't cut them back, they're throwing a little sporadic bloomies here and there.
What
Vitex, little sporadic bloomies.
Okay.
Yes, that's the botanical term.
Austin just danced live on air.
I didn't dance.
You did.
No, I've never danced. Okay, crepe myrtle. Crepe myrtle obviously still going.
buddy.
We all know that. Rosa Sharon, your hibiscus syriacus still going, looking good. Hey, let's go to the vines. Crossvine, yours is blooming. My
bloom.
clematis
Yep.
still blooming as well. A rebloom from both of them.
Look
So
at 'em.
we're not going to argue today. They're both good plants. They're both reblooming. Okay, we're feeling nice today.
Wow, how amicable.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
We
taking
had a
the high
discussion
road.
before the show, and we said, listen.
We did.
Did you?
We did.
Did you come to an accord?
We did. And then passion
Y'all.
flower. Passion flower still throwing some blooms, but mainly throwing them maypops. That's what they
buddy.
do. The maypop blooms. Okay. Hey,
Oh, mine's covered. I have so much fruit
Yep.
on my good ones.
there you go. The natives, ironweed, Joe Pye weed, goldenrod still going off. Hey, if you cut back catmint, it is reblooming right now, so that's cool. Hey, a cool little thing, alliums. You know, my alliums in the full sun are done blooming. My alliums that are in kind of heavy shade are blooming a lot right now. So that's kind of cool. It's like site selection where you put the same plant is going to bloom at different times. So just know that. All of our annuals, y'all, I'm going through these fast. Lantana, petunias, begonias, coleus, marigolds, zinnias, vinca, all those. Sun-loving, hot-loving, looking great. And let's go to what's happening this time of year. Mums came in. We have mums. Hey, we have pansies. They came in. And then to round it all up, your pumpkins. Hey, it's coming into fall. Pumpkins are blooming. I got a big field of pumpkins close to my house. Some guy just growing them. They're throwing fruit, but they're also throwing blooms, and that's
spicy.
And
what's
that's it.
in bloom.
All right, let's get a couple more questions in. Any shade-loving or partial shade fall flowering perennials? You talked about one. What was it?
Anemone.
Anemone.
Mine is in pretty much full shade. Mine's not blooming quite yet, but it is absolutely covered in buds. It is about to be full show and gorgeous, and it's huge. It has taken up so much space. I think it's doubled in size since I planted it 2 years ago. So this is the third season.
And I know as of yesterday, we had a really healthy, good-looking crop of anemone back there, like full in their cans, just big and nice.
In their
full.
cans?
Yeah, I say that
I've never heard
sometimes.
you call pot cans before.
Sometimes you call them cans, old school,
There you go.
whatever. But they are looking really good. Yeah, y'all, deep shade, even partial sun. I mean, they can even handle a good amount of sun, actually. But anemone is a great fall blooming plant. It's so good.
It is, and I feel like you really don't see it that often.
No, it
People
flies
say.
under the radar. You don't notice it until it starts blooming in the fall, and you're like, whoa, what's that? I need that. Because
And
they
it's-
just blow in the breeze.
It's the Japanese that blooms in the fall.
Oh. Sherry says she's got some azaleas with some blooms on it.
Hey.
My flame creepers are blooming right now.
Very
They're kind
cool.
of covered in blooms.
They do that. Azaleas are weird about that. And they bred a whole new series. I say new. It's been around for a while now. But the Encore azaleas are the one, hence the name Encore. They come back on stage. And that's this time of year kind of where the Encores are starting to rebloom. But even yours, like you said, you got the flame creeper. That's not an Encore type at all. But they will still throw some bloom sometimes. You kind of mimic spring a little bit and, not necessarily
And they're
this
ready to
week.
go.
Yeah. But then they'll throw.
Well, it did cool down for a hot minute.
Yeah, it
wasn't
did.
even that long, and then it warmed up, and mine are blooming. And then Joyce Hook says spiderwort is reblooming.
Oh,
Hey, Joyce. You've been out here a lot lately.
We have seen a lot of folks out here at the nursery.
We really
this
have.
week. I've gotten to see so many people.
And Joyce is so fun. She's just so friendly and nice, and she just does her thing. And she cannot resist a sale. Can you, Joyce? Them plants were 25% off, and you were in here every other day. I saw you. We've been talking. But, yeah, we got shout-outs to all sorts of people. We got Michelle that was in yesterday. We got Emily Boyd was in here. Dina was in yesterday with your grandson, Rowan. Rowan, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. And then I've got Joyce on the list. Shout-out to all of y'all. You're avid listeners, and you're also avid shoppers of our plants. And,
Yes.
we just really appreciate it. We love seeing y'all. And we love that you listen to us on Saturdays.
Yep.
We
'Cause
love hanging
without
out with you on
we
Saturdays.
can't do this.
Can
Joyce
we-
did say, I made some good buys in August. Thank you for the sales, David.
Uh-huh. Some say there ain't no cure for the summertime blues. But we say Bates Nursery is. Located in Nashville, Tennessee, Bates Nursery and Garden Center is a separate world unto itself. They feature the widest variety of plants, including trees, shrubs, native plants, perennials, houseplants, and specimen evergreens. Their knowledgeable staff will assist you with any gardening needs, catering to any experience level. Open year-round, and Caroline, tell them how to get here.
Bates Nursery is located minutes from downtown Nashville off Briley Parkway, exit 19 in beautiful Whites Creek, Tennessee. You'll see it's worth the drive from anywhere. No time to visit the nursery? Shop online with delivery and pickup options available for the greater Middle Tennessee area at www.batesnursery.com.
So if you want to learn a lot about living and a little about love, visit Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
So we talked about lavender a little bit that we have in room. We do have a question. My lavender is brown on the inside, but still looks good up top. Should I cut it back now?
I probably wouldn't cut it back now, but this is very, very common for lavender to get kind of yuck on the interior of the plant. And it's just, like I said, it's a very common thing to happen. I mean, if
mine looks like that right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you did cut it back, it'd probably be fine if it's happy and healthy. I mean, it should. I just don't really recommend cutting it back now. You kind of let it do its thing until winter comes around, and then you kind of observe it through winter, because honestly, lavender can get a little yuck over the winter too, because we're usually pretty wet, which is one thing they just do not like. So I've grown lavender in the ground in my house, and usually I'll let it just kind of be rangy and leggy through kind of the worst, January and February, and then I give it a clear cut to the dirt, and then whenever it's warm enough in the spring, it just comes back from the roots and it's clean. So that's kind of my practice. But like I said, if you cut it back now, you're probably not going to hurt anything. It's just not necessarily recommended.
It's hard to look at. Mine that's in full all-day sun planted by my sidewalk, that's the one that's browning. I think it's gotten so hot. Now I have some that are in, I don't want to say partial shade, but they've been shaded by a limelight that has grown up over summer, and those actually are doing fantastic. They're not browning at all, even though they've gotten a little dry and floppy. We have a clematis question. Clematis is struggling and bushy at the base and does not want to climb. Any tips? Sounds like it might just be growing over its the little bamboo stakes that it comes on.
Could be. I mean, you might need to just kind of help it up. I don't know if it's bushy and like flopping down.
Yell at it. Say, hey, get on up here,
Get on
man.
up.
Yeah.
Like
Start
maybe,
climbing.
grab some of the stems and like get them actually attached to some sort of trellis system, and then they might, kind of help them, work them up a little bit. But I mean, it's good that it's bushy at the base. That means it's healthy right now, so that's a good start. But I mean, it should, it's definitely a vine.
Sometimes you have to help them. I mean, I'll find the end of each little vine and start wrapping it up, whatever I want it to grow up, help train it up. Sometimes I use twine so it starts climbing that, and then it can get to the trellis, and then the twine disintegrates and goes away.
You see Donna's question?
Already on there.
You see Donna's?
Donna said, I planted Northwind this spring and love it.
Yeah, Donna.
Northwind is great.
Donna
It's so good.
She also wants to know what the Donna Crowley. It's a different Donna. Wants to know what the white bugs are flying all over every place. We talked about it, but it's the
Woolly aphids.
Woolly aphids.
They're everywhere. Everybody's got them.
Don't
They
worry.
get all over me at my house here. They'll be gone soon enough, though.
Yeah, it won't be too much longer.
Your car probably doesn't look great right now.
No.
Maybe like mine.
Ugh.
It's not good. Can you all recommend any conifers that will survive Nashville summers?
Oh, yeah.
Gosh.
There's
yes.
tons.
I mean, probably the best one for me is going to be our native, what y'all think of as cedar trees, but technically junipers. So Junipers virginiana, if you ever find that genus and species, that's going to live here just great. That's our native junipers that live here, and it's a conifer, and they handle winters, summers, whatever. Drought, doesn't matter. That's probably my go-to when it comes to Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, my what was
and
that?
the cultivar Taylor juniper is from that species of plant. So, and good thing about a Taylor juniper, if you're looking for something that's columnar that doesn't spread out too much, it gives you the same foliar look as the eastern red cedar, like you see around in the native woodland. It just does it in a much more slender fashion. So, if you have a limited spread in a spot where you need to have that upright height, it's a really good choice. And this particularly with respect, and I think what the question is geared towards, a lot of conifers don't like the dry and the heat. That's not an issue really with the conifer so much as it is with the care that they're receiving during the summer months. You cannot, particularly on things like arborvitae, they do not thrive on neglect during extended hot, dry spells. They must be continue to be watered. They never get to the point where you can just let them go on autopilot.
My
when the conditions are rough.
my Mugo does great here.
My Mugo died.
Did you?
It did. It was
Okay.
in a pot, and it didn't make it through the
Dawn
winter.
Redwood is amazing this year. So.
Oh, yeah, Dawn Redwood. I was going to say my weeping Alaskan cedar. I have quite a few conifers, some different types of things all in my yard. That one has outperformed any of my other ones. I haven't watered it at all. It's been in the ground 2 years, so I haven't watered it all this summer, and it is stunning right now.
Yeah.
It's pushing new growth right now, and it is just, it doesn't have any brown. I never have to remove anything. I'm sure I'll have some issues with it as it matures, lose some limbs, but that one is a showstopper. It's planted near my house. It's weeping. It's just,
Yeah, you wouldn't think of a plant that's named weeping Alaskan cedar would live well in Middle Tennessee, but it does. You're right. Like, I've seen specimens, and it does very well here.
It's so clean, too. So if you're looking for something that's a little more unusual, and it still gives privacy, this one gets a little bit whiter at the base, and
It's kind of one of those feature plants that you would like put in that feature spot where you like up a light or a light up it or something, and then you build like stuff around it.
a little
like,
bit
that's
spooky looking.
That's a cool plant for that. Good.
David,
What about bald cypress, deciduous conifer?
That's a deciduous conifer. So if
So is
you're
my
into that, I
dog.
mean, it's just it's a large growing tree.
Yeah.
If you have the space.
Yes,
But
my
Josh
Dawn
mentioned
my
Dawn
Dawn
Redwood.
Redwood is massive.
Mine
but,
is too.
and
Mine
it-
is gorgeous.
Yeah. Annette wants to know what the conifer you recommended was, David. She says she didn't quite catch it. Which one
It
was
was
it?
a Taylor juniper.
Taylor juniper.
Yes.
Right, and it is a Juniperus virginiana, as Austin was mentioning. It's just a selected cultivar. Am I correct, Austin? That I think that was found in Nebraska, was it not?
You're correct. Shout out Bridge.
Yes, we want to make sure we didn't get a bridge mentioned in this. So, Bridget, yes, to your Cornhusker State, the cultivar was found there. It's
Yeah.
the same genus and species. It's just a selected cultivar that had this tremendous, what we call fastigate,
Oh, well,
growth
excuse
habit,
you.
which means
Don't you say
upright
bad
and
words.
columnar in Latin terminology.
Oh,
So
okay.
there you go. Taylor.
go.
Tay
Like-
junipers.
Tay junipers,
Tay
that's
Tay
what you need.
junipers.
Yep.
If Miss Swift wanted to have one, she could have her own Taylor
She could.
Swift.
Yes, she could. Tay
Yep.
junipers. And then Barbara asked, is autoleucon cherry laurel a different plant from autoleucon laurel or the same plant?
It's the same plant. That's just common names being thrown around. Cherry laurels are, a lot of people say cherry laurels. A lot of people just say regular laurels or whatever. As long as you're giving us that specific cultivar name, which is autoleucon, that is going to be a laurel, cherry laurel, either way. That's why in this game, like all of us, we talk mainly in botanical names. That way we know exactly what we're talking about, whereas common names can get confusing sometimes.
And it confuses me when they do that.
Yeah.
That's
We
not
have
hard to
to.
do.
We-
It's not that hard to do. Annette wants to know, do you
Mainly
have a
why we
Taylor
do it,
juniper?
Josh.
I know, you're mean. Okay. But
no.
Annette wants to know if we have, if there are any of the Tay junipers here.
I saw quite a few outside the
Okay.
green room this morning when I walked in.
Very good.
We got an awesome crop of them right now. Looking nice. Coming in 6 foot tall, pencil thin, and money.
Just like Taylor.
Money.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty, folks. That's the kind of stuff that you get here on Gardening Inside Out. And hey, next Saturday morning, we're going to come back. Hey, get out here to the nursery and get what's left of the blue pots. Find that big station out there and
plenty
get
of
it going.
Viagra
That
now. so come on
Viagra.
out.
Best
We're not going to
sale
run out of
ever.
that likely.
Because we're going to get it going. Hey, for everybody out there, we appreciate you joining us every Saturday morning. You can catch the podcast anytime you want to because it comes out once a week as well. So see what's
On
going
Wednesdays.
On Wednesday. Okay. Next Saturday morning, we'll be here from the green room, and hopefully the Vols will come away with a win today. I don't think they have to worry about it. But for everybody here, we do appreciate you once again. We'll see you next Saturday morning.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Gardening Inside Out podcast. If you're looking for more information or more from your hosts, don't forget that we have a live Saturday morning broadcast, 8 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Facebook. You can also follow us on our Instagram channel. That's @Gardening Inside Out for more posts, reels, and in-depth dives to topics and things we've discussed on the show. If our content resonates with you, consider giving us a follow, like, and subscription on all of our social media pages. See you next time.